What's that?
Two citizens in the crowd.
Yeah.
Lisa and Vicky,
Lee,
I was gonna say, you
Alder
guys want to sign
Rasmussen,
in?
Alder Cannon,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, you're okay. You're good now. Yep. So yeah, that's the only one I don't think she's.
Anyone here to speak tonight? We have forms up here if you are. Thank you. We'll call her anyway, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm good to go whenever you are.
Okay, good and sound video back there? All right. Good evening. Tonight is November 26th. It is now 6:47. You are at a common council of the city of Wausau. Welcome. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have the clerk call roll.
There are 10 voting members present.
Thank you. Proclamations tonight, there are two in the packet. Both have either been read in or will be read in at other venues, so they're there for your, the official entry into the city record. And then we have a public comment section here. We did have one person sign up, Heather Zentrich. Heather in the house? Okay, not seeing Heather here tonight. We'll move on to committee reports. We have a committee report from the Board of Public Works on insurance claims. And is that going to be you or is that?
I think we generally just note it and place it on file.
So it is in the file. It's the first item inside the pack. Does anyone have any comments, questions on that? It is entered into the record. All right, up next is the consent agenda. There's one item on the consent agenda we've been asked to poll for some clarification, so that will be item 24-1113, resolution from INF approving a request for limited use for 1300 Cleveland Avenue for a training area. Other than that, I would entertain a motion for consent, and we have a motion from Neal, second by Watson. Further comments on the consent? Seeing none?
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
All right, we'll take that item pulled from the consent. It was item 1113 from INF that was approved in INF 5-0. A request for limited use of 1300 Cleveland Avenue for a training area. It is currently, has been used as a construction training site, if you will, and I'm looking for the exact wording here. But there were some questions of whether this was considered a new non-conforming use or not. It is city-owned property. It is not necessary to bring before council, but it was felt that because it's a sensitive area and there would be potential training going on there, that people might question as to what's going on. So we decided to bring this to council for approval. It's a training opportunity, and it looks like Mr. Lindman is at the podium.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Good evening. So, this went to INF because this is really, we've struggled down at the streets division to try to find training areas for our new employees with the excavators and the other equipment. And the only time that they get to practice is actually out on the street, right? So if something goes awry, then, it can be costly. So this was a great opportunity for us. Destin brought this forward. It was a great idea. It's similar to uses that are already happening on that property. It's storage of logs. There's trucks going in and out of there with the Parks Department using it. There's chipping of some of the wood that's going on there. There's equipment use there off and on. And so this wouldn't be an everyday use. It would be periodic. We wouldn't be disturbing any of the soils. All the equipment would be on the concrete pads. We would bring in our own material to use and put in some of those old loading dock areas, so they could, we could bury pipes, and then our new people could train and try to open up those pipes and try to avoid the utilities and stuff in the other areas underneath to get some practice. So we thought it was a great idea from Dustin, and it's a way for us to use property that we already have that's really not being fully used, and I thought it was a good use for the property. But, this is a property that uses are and how it's used is very kind of controversial, so, and there's a lot of information that's requested anytime something new happens there. So we just wanted to bring it forward, make sure everybody's aware what's being proposed and what's going to be used. And if you have any questions on zoning, anything, Bill's here, Dustin's here, so.
Alder, we do have a motion from Watson, second by Hanky. Alder Neal. I was looking for your light up over here. Go ahead.
Hi. So just concerning, the neighbors, like live across the street and stuff, how noisy or how long might, training sessions be? Will there be constant reverse, like beep, beep, beep and stuff, that kind of
Sure.
thing to just drive people crazy?
Yeah.
So,
Hi, good evening. It shouldn't be that long. So our normal business hours are 7 to 3 for our street crew. So we would be doing the training during those hours. There's not going to be any after-hour use for that kind of stuff. The stuff we'll be doing is practicing digging, so they're not going to be doing the driving. So we have our large excavator does make a beep beep sound when you're driving around, but when they're doing the training, they're not going to be moving back and forth. So it'll just be the running of the engine and whatever sounds that makes.
all right, thanks.
Yep.
Should we get into these point by point?
I think you covered it.
Okay. So it looks like we covered most of the questions that were had. One of the issues was non-conforming. So this is a non-conforming use because it's currently residential, but we have been using it as this type of facility for some time. I'm just reading the rest of these items.
The contractor yard activity.
It's considered a contractor yard activity. DPW uses it. It's been used by parks for laydown of when we have storm damage. So it does get similar type use, has over time. I have a question from Mr. Gisselman.
Well, just a question with regard to the neighbors. Has there been feedback from the neighborhood? Have they been alerted? I don't know if the neighborhood meetings have been talking about this or not. Just a concern about the neighborhood, as Mr. Neal, just.
I have not
Concern-
reached out to any of them. INF was the first place I took it, so we didn't do any kind of outreach or anything like that. Yep.
Just so the neighborhood knows what's going on, they see more activity. That's all. Thank you.
Alder Rasmussen.
Thank you. I think in the interest of communication too, maybe what we could do is in an upcoming edition of the newsletter, we could publish a little article about the new training and the training opportunity and the results that we expect there in terms of mistake avoidance by training them in a controlled setting. And I think that if this is happening on the property where I think it's happening, it's actually quite a distance from the neighboring homes. It's way off the road, right? It's not at that's well screened. It's elevated, it's got trees around it.
That's correct.
It's where the yardway site started, right? back behind St. Vinny's?
Yes, it's so the old incubator site is, I guess, what we
So you
always
have
call
to
it
actually
down
drive
but-
in there to see that whole site even. So from the
Yeah.
street, you're actually down a bit. So,
Well, there's two loading docks. One is kind of kitty corner from the
Yeah.
driveway where you, driving past, you'd be able to see that one, but the other one's further
Yeah.
down. You'd have to drive in to
but
see
it's
it.
a distance from residential homes. So I guess, and doing it during the day and not at night seems reasonable. I think we'd probably get good training time in there, and it just doesn't seem to be as disruptive as anything that's taken place there before. So I think it's a good opportunity. Thank you.
With a motion and second, seeing no other comments,
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
all right, up next, we have no mayor's appointments tonight. And oddly enough, just about every item here is subject to suspension of the rules because it did not come first under the 6B filing and referral of resolutions. So we're going to ask to suspend the rule 6B for filing and/or 12A for referral of resolutions. Requires a 2/3 vote. And I think all of these came before finance tonight or public health and safety on Monday. Have a motion from Neal, second from Tierney.
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
So the first one up is the file number 241107 from Finance. It's a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of up to 4.52 million sewer system revenue bonds, Series 2024, and providing for other details and covenants with respect thereto. And that passed unanimously at Finance. I have a motion from Henke, second from Rasmussen. Seeing no comments, questions,
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
the next item will be, is pulled. It was not ready and it did not come to Finance. So that's 021217. Okay, we skipped it. Up next is 021216, Finance and HR Resolution, joint resolution on the bargaining agreement between the City of Wausau and Wausau Professional Police Association for January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027, and that passed by both HR and Finance 5-0. Motion from Henke, second from Tierney. Seeing no questions,
Motion to amend by Lou. Didn't you mean to do that?
motion to amend by Lou Larson?
No, I'm sorry, I just hit the wrong button.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have Henke motion, Tierney second, no questions.
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
The next item is also not coming before council tonight. So 241108 is being pulled from council agenda. Next item up is 241116, Public Health and Safety Resolution approving clinical affiliation agreement for health occupations with North Central Technical College. And I didn't watch that, but I believe that one passed 3-0. Oh, there was only 3 there. Motion from Watson, second from Rasmussen.
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
Up next is file number 23-1109P. It's a finance resolution approving 2024 budget modification for additional soil sampling and soil removal for the Riverside Trail Corridor and Park remediation. Brits numbered 37584785, and that passed tonight as well from Finance, 5-0. Motion from Tierney, second from Lukens.
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0. Skipping this one, right?
Yeah, we're going to skip this next one, but I will comment that it was approved at plans tonight. It's going to require a little more staff work before it comes back through council. So the last item is 240108, Public Health and Safety Resolution approving various licenses as indicated, and I assume that was also 3-0 on Monday. Motion from Watson, second from Rasmussen. Comments, questions? Moving along quickly.
You may vote. Motion passes 10-0.
Second to the last item is public comment and suggestions. Anyone here for comments or suggestions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Watson, second from Henke. All in favor?
Aye.
See ya. Enjoy your Thanksgiving time off. City Hall will be closed on Friday and Thursday.
15 minutes. That's pretty good. I was really tracking those skipped ones. If you want to hit the